Hello and welcome to the lecture series on power electronics. Today would be starting a new topic, and that is about the AC to AC converters. So normally we require an AC to AC converter to control the available magnitude and or the frequency of the available AC power supply. So take the case of electrical drive system. We have got a three-phase, say, induction motor. We are interested in controlling the speed of induction motor, and we know that we can control the speed of an induction motor, although there are a variety of ways. One of the ways is, say, by controlling the voltage and frequency of the input supply. So the supply available to us is of constant magnitude and frequency. So if we are actually interested in converting that voltage into a variable voltage supply and a variable frequency supply, we need to have some type of AC to AC converter which can perform both of these two operations. Okay, and likewise there are many other applications wherein we require AC to AC conversion. Okay, so basically AC to AC converters can be categorized as cycloconverter or an AC regulator or a matrix converter. I had discussed this basically classification of AC to AC converter in another video. I would basically be discussing the AC regulator in this lecture, and more specifically I would be taking a resistive load that is connected to a single phase AC regulator. So basically I will be talking about a single phase AC regulator operating on an R load. So the load that is connected is resistive in nature. It is purely resistive in nature. So this is the circuit configuration. We can use two SCRs in anti-parallel connection as shown here, or we could go for a triac also. Okay, but for higher voltage and power rating, we have to go for this parallel connection or say anti-parallel connection of configuration of this AC regulator because of the constraint on higher rating of a triac. Okay, so it is being given supply from a fixed mains, say Vm sin omega t is the supply that is given to it, and at the output we have got a load, a resistive load, and we want a variable voltage or more, it is better to say a controlled voltage at the output of the this output terminal of this load. Okay, so immediately you could see here that this configuration can only change the RMS value of the magnitude of the output voltage. It cannot change the frequency. Okay, although we do have provision of converting the frequency to a lower level in case of cyclo converter, and we can do both the operation in case of matrix converter. So we will be discussing that. We had discussed that in a separate lecture. Okay, so for this configuration we need to provide firing pulses to these two SCRs. So if one of the SCR, say the above one, is fired at an angle alpha, then the lower SCR has to be fired at an angle pi plus alpha. So basically there is a phase difference of pi between the firing of the two thyristors. Moreover, we will be assuming in our analysis that the two SCRs are ideal in nature, so there is no loss associated with it, neither there is a voltage drop while they are conducting. Okay, so this is So how basically it operates? So the input voltage is normally sensed by some voltage sensor, and a reduced voltage is given to a microcontroller. Okay. So this basically is sensing the voltage, and it is basically giving an AC voltage corresponding to this input voltage. Frequency remains same, only this magnitude, it is reduced to the level which is compatible to the microcontroller, normally up to 5 volts. Okay. So all maybe in some cases we can go up to 3.3 volts even. Okay. So this signal is given to this microcontroller. In the microcontroller there is inbuilt ZCD, or if inbuilt ZCD is not there in the microcontroller as a peripheral, then we have to add a separate analog circuit which basically do the function of zero crossing detection. ZCD is basically zero crossing detection. Why we need it? Because we are interested in firing these two SCRs at a particular angle, and that is alpha and pi plus alpha, and in subsequent cycles also we want that the firing angle it remains same, it do not changes. Okay. So we need to keep a sense about when the input voltage is crossing the zero, and from that point we basically in the microcontroller we set a timer which after sensing the zero crossing, it generates a pulse after a predefined time, and that is equivalent to the firing angle alpha. Okay. So that firing angle it cannot directly be given to these two thyristors, because the magnitude of those signals are quite low. So that need to be amplified with the help of some driver circuit, and the output of the driver is basically an amplified signal of the output of the microcontroller, and this is given to the two SCRs. And normally driver do have some isolation circuit also to isolate the this is the control circuit and this is the power circuit. So normally drivers do have some isolation circuit also to isolate power and the control circuitry. Okay. Now let's come to the operation of this circuit. Operation is bit simple. This is the input voltage that is available here from the AC mains, and in the positive half cycle, T1 is forward biased. Okay. So when or we can write during positive half cycle, T1 is forward biased. So if it is forward biased, it has the tendency to conduct, but it won't conduct unless and until it is provided with a gate signal. Okay. So that gate signal is provided at an angle alpha. So I have shown it here. So at alpha we are providing a gate signal to the gate terminal of T1. Okay, of sufficient magnitude definitely, so that it turns on. So T1 turns on at alpha. Okay. So before alpha, from 0 to alpha duration, there is no conduction in the circuit. So that means no current flowing through the load. So the output voltage as well as the current is 0. I have shown it here. Okay. And as soon as firing angle is given at alpha, so it starts conducting. So now it is as good as this point or this terminal across the SCR is short circuit. So this is the circuit now. Okay. So if that is the case, the output voltage is actually equal to the input voltage. So this output voltage is equal to the input voltage. Peak is at Vm, peak is at Vm, and it conducts till pi. So at pi, and what about the current that will be flowing? So that would be limited by the waveform would be same as that of the voltage, only it would be limited by this resistor R. So that means the peak value of the current waveform, this red waveform is basically current waveform. So peak will be Vm by R. So at pi, since it is a resistive load, as soon as the voltage goes to 0, current also goes to 0. So that means the SCR stops conducting. Okay, it stops conducting because there are two conditions for an SCR to stop conducting. The one is that a reverse voltage, or it is reverse bias, and the current through it falls to 0. So at this instant and immediately after that, the voltage reverses across the SCR T1. Moreover, current has also fallen to 0, so it stops conducting. So it will again conduct when a firing pulse is given to it. Okay. So from the interval pi to pi plus alpha, there is no conduction in the circuit, so the output voltage is 0. Okay. Now at pi plus alpha, firing pulse is given to thyristor T2 now. So that means T2 now starts conducting. T2 starts conducting and T1 is off. So if that is the case, now you could see here that again the output voltage is equal to the input voltage, and the output voltage, this is the input voltage and this is the output voltage, which are same from pi plus alpha to 2 pi. Okay, and similarly the current will also follow the same waveform as that of the output voltage, the difference lying in the peak value of the current, and which will be equal to Vm by minus Vm by R. Okay. Okay. So this is one complete cycle of the operation. Again at 2 pi the current has fallen to 0 and T2 will turn off, and then again after the instant pi, again after 2 pi alpha after 2 pi, T1 is again given a firing pulse and the cycle continues. Okay, so let us now try to analyze the circuit. I have drawn the voltage appearing across the SCRs also. Let us see how I have obtained that. So when the SCR T1, let us see first see T1. So when T1 is conducting, and it is conducting from this point to this point, I have shown it here. So during this interval, no output voltage, no stress will be across the thyristor or SCR T1. Okay, no voltage will be appearing across it. Similarly, when T2 will be conducting T2, then also since it is in parallel with T1, and when it is conducting, T2 will be having 0 voltage. So that means T1 will also be having 0 voltage across it. So any of the SCR T1 or T2, when it is conducting, the other SCR will be having 0 voltage appearing across it. Okay. Okay. What if none of them are conducting? So take the case when, let us try to find out the voltage appearing across T1 from the instant 0 to alpha. So from 0 to alpha in the positive half cycle, you could see, let me write down this VT1. Okay. So if I try to write down KVL in this loop, so if I start from here and I go like this, so minus of V in, then I have got this voltage which is plus VO, and then plus VT1, and this is equal to 0. So that means VT1 is equal to V in minus VO. Now from 0 to alpha, the output voltage is 0, so this is not present. So that means VT in is equal to VT1 is equal to V in. So that's why I have shown here VT1 equals to V in. This is the V in. Okay. What about VT2? So VT2, you could see that it's the same equation would now have here we have got minus sign, minus Vt2, and that is equal to 0, because now plus here and minus here for Vt2. Okay, because anode is not on that side and cathode is this side. So this is the normal sign convention we take in case of a switch. Okay, so that means Vt2 will be equal to minus of V in plus Vo, and this is 0. So that means minus of V in. So minus of V in I have shown it here. Okay. So again for pi to pi plus alpha, this same thing will happen. V in Vt1 will be equal to V in. So negative in here in this case, and in the other cycle also. Okay. Let us now try to obtain an expression for the RMS value of the output voltage. Okay, and see how it depends on the firing angle alpha. So then we would be in a better position to say how we can control the output voltage. Okay. So we have got this waveform. So average value of the waveform will be 0. Okay, so this is, since it is a AC waveform, so let us try to find out the RMS value of the output. RMS value of the output. To find out the RMS value of this blue waveform, which is the output voltage waveform, we restrict ourselves for half cycle only, from 0 to pi, because in the other half from pi to 2 pi it is basically a repetition. So we keep the period also pi, and we integrate the voltage in the positive half cycle only. Okay. So this will be equal to 1 upon pi, and this much times integration from 0 to pi, and this is Vo, and this is d omega t, and whole integration, square will also be there. Okay. So that means this is equal to now from 0 to 1 by pi, from 0 to alpha the output voltage is 0, and from alpha to pi the output voltage is Vm sin omega t, which is also equal to the input voltage, and this whole square. Okay. Now this is equal to, so this term goes, this is becomes 0. Now we are left with this term. I take Vm outside, so Vm square. Okay. So by pi is there, and integration from alpha to pi, and now this sin square omega t. Sin square omega t can be written as 1 minus how much? 1 minus, so it is 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. This is d omega t, and whole root. Now this is equal to, so if I take Vm and this t outside the root, so I will be getting Vm upon root 2 at the outside, and rest of the things are within the root. So 1 upon pi. Now if I integrate 1, so I get, and pi minus alpha, so that means this is pi minus alpha. Okay. Then plus integration of cos is a sine, so it is sine 2 omega t upon 2, and minus sign is there, and the limit is from alpha to pi. So let me use this type of bracket, and this is half. Okay. So this is equal to Vm by root 2, and this becomes pi minus alpha by pi this would be yes, it would be minus of sine pi minus sine 2 alpha and power half. So sine pi is 0, basically it would be 2 pi, so sine 2 pi is 0, so I remove this, and minus sign is there, so minus minus becomes plus, so it is plus sine 2 alpha, power is half. So this is the RMS value of the output voltage. Similarly, if I am interested in finding out the RMS value of the output current, I have simply to divide it by R. So I naught RMS would be Vm upon root 2 R times this value, pi minus alpha by pi plus sine of 2 alpha to the power half. So just you see the appearance of this term pi, alpha in this expression. Okay. So when alpha equals to 0, so what will happen? That means this term vanishes and we are left with pi by pi is 1. That means Vm by root 2. So that is the RMS value of the sinusoidal wave, okay, with peak Vm. And if alpha becomes equal to pi, then this becomes 0 and this becomes 0, and ultimately whole term becomes 0. That means the output voltage becomes 0. So the control is from 0 to Vm by root 2. So RMS value of the output voltage can be controlled from 0 to Vm by root 2 by varying the value of alpha from 0 to pi. Okay. Fine. So we will take up the case of RL load and then simply L load, and then we will switch to 3-phase circuits also. So keep watching the videos. Thank you.